everybody. Welcome to the Utopia Magic. I didn't, I'm winging it right now. So we are a team of friends, and we all have different interests. And we're about to start talking to Christina, who is one of our team members. She's into astrology. She has a lot of knowledge in astrology.
I appreciate that.
And then we have Nathan over here who is
Hello.
he does Merlin. I'm sorry, Nathan.
It's fine. Merlin and the Fey King's Crown.
And it's on YouTube and
Yeah.
Facebook, correct?
Right, correct.
And then he also does tarot with us. He's also been a part of Utopia Magic doing tarot as well on our channel or on our Facebook pages. We're missing some members tonight. Our subject tonight is magic and our experience with magical things. So, Christina, you want to start off?
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess today felt magical. Friday felt magical. Everyone likes to think of me as a unicorn. Um, I guess when I think of magic, manifesting is a form of magic. That's what comes to mind. Magic is manifestations. And the quickest manifest I've ever had is 20 minutes.
Oh wow. How did you get into magic? I mean, what made your interest?
Honestly, I think I've always been interested in magic, but Harry Potter definitely sparked further interest.
Did it start as a child or when you got a little bit older?
I think as a child, because I always just kind of like lived in my own world, and I just had no care in the world about anything that related to anything adult like. So politics, any adult like conversation, just kind of as a child, would say bored me, and to be honest, it still kind of bores me. Like I will talk to people about politics, but like nah, I want to talk about fantasy. I want to talk about otherworldly things. Talk to me about aliens. Talk to me about Merlin. Talk to me about the what's the word I want? The Middle Ages. Talk to me about stuff like that. Talk to me about what kind of wand you want to have. Talk to me about what kind of spells that you're into. Like everything we do and say is a form of a spell, and everything we say and do is a form of magic. Our words are literally spells.
What type of magic do you use? Everybody has their own way of creating something. Do you
Okay, I guess my kindness. My
what kind
kindness. My kindness.
your kindness? Okay.
Yeah. Um, it's been abused, but I'm still going to be kind towards people who have hurt me, even if they have done me wrong. I'm going to still just be myself and heal that pain and acknowledge that, and we are human and we have to have those boundaries. But at the end of the day, magic is outer worldly and beautiful. And when I think of magic, I think of like mushrooms. not like the and not like the naughty, not even the naughty kind, just the toadstool type like mushrooms. It's funny because I actually was drawing something tonight and somebody was like the vibe came to like mushrooms, and I get it's interesting because I was doing a bunch of paintings with mushrooms when I first started painting back in April. Yeah, April, May of last year. Yeah, more May, June. I was painting a series of mushrooms, and it was just fascinating. And I don't know, it's just they feel mushrooms and magic. They just feel grounding to me.
Probably because you're an earth sign, right?
Yeah.
But mushrooms also remind me of like Alice in Wonderland, and that's kind of like a magical place.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. That makes sense. I never liked Alice in Wonderland. For like I said, Harry Potter is kind of my jam.
Okay.
Yeah. I always actually it's interesting. Even Pokemon I see as a type of magic because I don't know how. I guess because there's just so many different. It's just it's all based on imagination, and that's I guess where it comes to the fact that I love the idea of imagination because as a child my imagination it ran big, but at the same time it was very I had a hard time imagining outer worldly ideas. So when I was introduced to stuff like Harry Potter or like The Wizard of Oz or Alice in Wonderland or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, that kind of stuff allowed me to dive into my spiritual side a little bit.
Which Charlie and the Chocolate Factory one do you remember the most that stands out to you? Because I know there's several different ones now.
Yeah. Obviously the one with Johnny Depp, but I've seen both versions. I've seen both versions. It's interesting actually that I talk about this and I'm using it as an experience and a as an experience when I was in my college days, so 18, 19, 20. A former peer of mine actually made a really, really bad insult towards me, and I was so hurt by it. They had called me an Oompa Loompa, and I was so
Really?
hurt by that because like it wasn't like they were just poking fun at me, but were they really poking fun? They were poking fun to be mean. They weren't poking fun to be funny, and that experience really stung, and it kind of stung for my imagination for a little bit because I was like, okay, I'm going to be who I'm going to be, and people are going to make fun of me. Then why should I get to enjoy things that make me happy?
Yeah, usually people that say rude stuff are projecting anyways.
I
So
believe they were a Gemini rising at this point, based on their both based on my experience of now that I've done my studies and my intuition with astrology. Looking back, definitely Gemini rising, manipulative, and like these were just their weaker qualities because at that point they were 18, 19, 20 as well, right? So they were inexperienced with their own experiences and they didn't have any accountability, and I guess that was something that I taught them, and for who I hope that down the line they think of me and thanked me, but being that person, their personality, the odds are they probably didn't think twice of me later down the line. But did it leave an impact with me? Absolutely. And it's funny because we would spend hours watching Home Alone, this person and I, because that was their comfort level. And Home Alone, in some ways, was a form of a fantasy as well.
yeah, I'm sorry that that happened to you. People are jerks sometimes.
Yeah, I'm okay with it because it brought me to where I am. It brought me my first experience with people who were toxic and people that showed me what I do not want to tolerate.
Right.
So when it comes back to the topic of magic, the universe protected me. It removed me from a negative situation because being who I am, it was like, you don't need this in your life. We're going to remove you from it. But at the same time, I had to do the physical removing, but the signs were there and the manifests happened and I'm thankful for the removal of myself. But at the same time, like I said, it comes back to the whole concept of manifestation, and that's where I love magic because manifestation literally is a side version of magic. So another manifestation, I guess, when I think of my magic skills, I needed a ride. It's actually funny because I was just listening to a podcast and they were talking about this hotel slash bar that I went to back in 2022. It was it's in the far north of northern Canada where the gold rush happened. The town's called Dawson City, but anyway, is now it's just a touristy town. They still have the oldest gambling hall in the country, and the podcast. I don't even know how they came about the conversation, but there was a donation of some literally old toes from like military men, and you have to pay and then sign a waiver, and if you swallow the toe, you end up with a fine. It's who knows if you actually have a fine, but that's the story. I think it's a cash grab, but anyway, when I was in Dawson City back in that time period, I had a problem with my foot, but I was like, I need a ride, and I got a ride within a day and a half. So like, I wasn't as fast as I liked, but I still got a manifest out of the deal. I got a ride across town from somebody because I needed a ride because I wanted to get off my foot. So I thought that was a pretty cool magical manifest of being me.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think anything. I think we can make anything happen basically with our minds. So
Mm.
Yeah, I agree with that. And within reason, I agree with that. Um, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just so
No, you're fine.
um, you go. You want to go? You want to continue on, or you want me to um, let's see, tell you my story about what
yeah,
uh
go ahead, Nathan.
okay.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
All right. Feel free to interrupt anytime. This is a conversation really. So if you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
if y'all have any questions or whatnot, just feel free to interrupt. Um, I think I think there's different forms of magic um, that people can employ. After will if they're willing to do the research, if they're willing to put in the work, that is required to actually truly bring in the immaterial into the material that we're all in. Because you can't. It's good to have, like you said, always on the topic of imagination. It's good. That's great. That is part of it. But you also have to be in the physical as well and bring those two components together to actually create the magic.
And that's where the Virgo Pisces axis comes into play because Virgo's all logical and Pisces is all like through the mind.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because isn't like Pisces like all imagination
Mm-hmm.
and Virgo?
Pisces literally rules imagination.
Yeah, they're kind of like almost like a uh. Let's see what I wouldn't. I don't want to say delusion or illusion. Um, but they're in their daydreaming or something, right?
Yeah,
Is that
it's the daydreaming energy. Pisces is really the daydreamer, and Virgo's the logic behind the daydream.
Yeah,
yeah? See,
Pisces reminds me of Peter Pan.
yeah, yeah. Bunch of Peter Pans out there.
Now
Hmm.
it's interesting because I have a 28 degrees Pisces MC, so my midhaven is very mystical vibe. And it's at a Cancer degree, but it's also almost into the next sign of Aries, so it's very passionate and driven, and yet it's very intuitive and imaginative. So when I tap into my drawings and my creativity, the the unusual comes out, and it makes for a very unique style, which brings out my authenticity. So that's where the imagination for me, I feel like it really comes into play within my work. I find if I'm more when I'm most creative, when I'm in tune with my emotions, which allows me to be that imaginative energy, which brings me to that manifestation. When I'm creative, I can get into that tone of that imagination state. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but again, we have to have that physical component too, though, I believe,
Yes.
in order to do things in this realm at least.
Mm,
Because everything's slowed down and like solidified here. So you have to have like the two coming together to
mm-hmm,
create like, that
mm-hmm,
true magic here at least. And then when you go into higher realms, it's easier to with your mind to, I guess, possibility go into different types of places, realms, astral. But while we're here, again, you have to have the physical as well because we operate in the physical here. No matter we all like, I'm pretty sure we all got vivid imaginations and stuff, but we also have to stay in the physical as well to accomplish things, I believe. Um,
mm-hmm.
and even then, even when you are bringing the two together, it doesn't always work. It doesn't always work how we expect it or want it to.
And
Uh,
that would be the Virgo part of the reality, because the expectation was there, but the reality is not where you want it to be. And
True.
that's where people get disappointed.
Yeah, 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 yeah. True, but see, it's like anything, really, right? So when they say try and try again? If you first don't succeed, try again. I think it's something like that. Like you keep trying over and over again until you hit that bullseye, and then when you do it, that's because I think it's all about probabilities as well, in the physical. Like you. So what's the probability of this working? So if you start looking at magic like that for probabilities and factors, if you do the calculations, like if I do it under this full moon, if I do this spell under full moon or on this day, and I'll walk around counterclockwise with a chicken in my hand and with whatnot or whatever. I'm just throwing in some random situations, and then I walk under a ladder, which you're not supposed to do, but you do it anyway with mirrors all around you, counteracting that bad luck or whatnot. And then since you got all the chaos, since you got all that chaos going on in your magical working, because it's random, you create potentiality and that's when you have a better chance of it succeeding because all magic is potentiality and probabilities. So if you work at a place from like chaos, which like chaos magicians, you have a better chance of bringing magic into the real world, into the physical that way as well, if you look at it that way.
I
I
like
think
that perspective.
that has a lot to do with belief magic.
Yeah.
If you don't believe in what you're doing, it's not going to manifest.
Yeah. That's true. You have to believe what you're doing, regardless of what you're doing. Like the scenario I just set up about, walking counterclockwise under a full moon under a ladder with a bunch of mirrors. Like that. If you don't believe it's going to work, then you just screwed yourself. You might as well just forget it because no matter what belief system or practice you do, if you don't believe it's going to work, then you just defeated yourself in trying to bring whatever it is into reality as well.
And what I've experienced with doing magic for other people is they're doubting it. In some way, they have a doubt, that it's not going to work. And I have to tell them, it's going to work, but you have to, like, make sure, like you have to believe in it, that it's going to work for you. Because if you don't believe in it and you're doubting it, it's not going to work, you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, true. Like, yeah, that's a fact. And sometimes people um, don't have to try hard at all
yeah.
because of the belief, and and it works out for them. But some of us have to, like, like I said, like try again, in order just to get like half the result of someone else who seems to have that inner belief in themselves that others don't have. Because like you said, with belief is a big part of it. If you don't believe it's going to work, then it's not going to work. Like, again, regardless of what kind of magic you're doing, it all comes down to belief at the end, don't it?
Yeah.
With and the combination of imagination and working in the physical. So if you have all those factors together, and you add a little chaos in the mix, you have a very good chance of succeeding in what you're trying to do.
So what types of magic do you like to use, Nathan? Merlin.
Random shit. Random shit. It changes based on how I'm feeling. Uh, at the because I'm like, that's why they call it chaos magic. Sometimes I believe a certain method may work on a certain day. Sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't resonate with me. So I drop it. Now that's just magic. What are my personal, like, I guess you would call it religious beliefs. Yeah, I believe in fairies and paranormal activity, ghosts, and stuff like that, of course. But when it comes to actually like implementing magic, it's just chaos magic, which again is the number one tool is belief, isn't it? Like you just said, and isn't it?
So what tools do you like to use? I use a lot of well, the how I first started out, I used, of course, candle magic, fire magic, and then I started going towards like earth magic, like herbs and stuff like that. I started learning more about the herbs as I went, because everything has like, because you're learning when you're doing the candles at first. Most people learn with the candles. Then you learn what the colored candles stand for. Of course, white can use for anything pure or positive, but black is for like something like vain or uh, negative or something like that. And then the colors all represent something. Like green is for money and gold is for money or success. Um, Orange is for like it's like a blockbuster candle, like Roblox, or uh, a gold color is like success as well. You got pink for friendship, love, self love. You have red for love, and people want to do like all these other love spells that whatever. But that's their thing. I don't judge. Um, you got let's see what's legal. The legal is the blue, right? And then you got I forgot what brown is for. I used
I
to have.
would I would assume Earth.
Huh?
I would assume it's Earth energy.
Yeah, it's probably grounding energy.
Yeah,
Um, I know, like I used to have a book of all that, but it just like it sticks. Most of it sticks up here unless I just happen to forget it.
that's the best part. But yeah, that's the best part because as long as it's up there somewhere, that's where you want to operate from anyway. Your subconscious.
Yeah,
You know what I
and
mean?
and then whenever I um married my ex-husband, King's dad, that's how we um that's how we got along, is because he was into the cult, and most people are not into that. Like, it scares them, they don't have any knowledge of it whatsoever. And he couldn't believe that I was into it, and that I couldn't believe that he was into it. So, like, we just, like, intermingled, like, and when we were dating, we would literally finish each other's sentences, like, or I would be thinking something and he would say it, like, it was just that, how, I don't know, we were just so intertwined with each other. And then he started teaching me about the saints, the saint candles, and how to work with different saints, and the what's it called, the Grisha bag or Gree bags or whatever they're called. What I'm talking about.
No, I
It's
don't.
it's like gris bags or whatever. Like,
Okay.
the Mojo bags, right?
Oh yeah, a Mojo bag. Yeah, yeah, like those little bags you put spice or whatever in them, and they ward off bad luck or whatnot.
Yeah.
Counter. Yeah.
And then he started teaching me about, like, energy work, like Reiki, and like, he would do some stuff. I'd be like, "What are you doing?" And I mean, so even as I was learning on my own through other stuff, he was teaching me more stuff that he had learned from his grandmother. So
Yeah.
Which comes back to the whole everything is interconnected in the 12th house.
yeah.
That's like the shadow self, isn't it? Like basically the hidden inner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, that is the 12th, hidden from yourself. The 12th house is all about what's hidden to you by you. In
Yeah.
simplest terms, it's the simplest. It's why people have a lot of undoings, or when people have that 12th house synastry, however you wish to pronounce it, they're both correct. But anyway, the point being, that's where the telepathy happens, because the telepathy is all that Pisces, dreamer, subconscious, and it's why I love things like that. So, like, people can teach people things. So, like, Letitia's story, excuse me, um, it was really hitting home for me with experience with telepathy and understanding and experience,
How do
spiritual
you,
experience.
Christina, how do you think telepathy works when it comes to that? Is it an emotional thing? Like, is it, or emotions or heart chakras get synced or?
Definitely a heart chakra for sure. That's a really good question, Nathan Merlin. Do you prefer Merlin or Nathan?
You call me either. You call me Nathan, the Merlin, doesn't matter.
Okay. You'll always be Merlin, Nathan, aka Merlin. I don't know why I want to say Nathan the Merlin.
That's fine.
Merlin the Nathan. um Honestly, definitely the heart chakra. Um like, when I think of synchronicity, so, like, there's been times where I would just say something out loud, and it's like, and then I get a wavelength, and I was like, wasn't even think. I was like, damn, it happened. What? So, like, I feel like definitely the hearts are connected. The root chakra, the heart chakra. I think planets for sure. Conjunctions, I feel for sure, are also um attached. I want to say Jupiter energy, because Pisces is traditionally ruled by Jupiter. So that divination of that expansion energy also plays a huge factor. And of course, in modern astrology, Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, and Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. But like I said, traditional astrology, Pisces and Sagittarius are both ruled by Jupiter, which is that bigger picture. And that's where a lot of people struggle with that bigger picture. So, like, the bigger picture is literally that manifest, that I can see that's this life that I have. I see this picture. I see this life that I want. That is the bigger picture. But getting to that bigger picture, it's where people get frustrated with the mundane things and the waking life, this life, the mundane life, the 3D life, because they've already seen it in another realm. They've seen it in the astral realm. They've seen this vision of themselves in a higher aspect, in a higher perspective, a different form of themselves. So like, and that's where people, like I said, that's where people get frustrated with the outcome. And I think I'm speaking on experience here for myself, because I've seen what I see, but as it shapes, and it doesn't shape how I've seen it. It's like, okay, disappointment, and then that's where the low expectations come into play. You can't expect the high expectations, because it just leads to disappointment. So, and it comes back to your thoughts and comments and about being the present moment. The present moment is hard for a lot of people when they've seen these visions and these manifests in their dreams. I once was told, actually, by a cancer, that our dreams are where we're most ourselves. So when we're in our sleeping state, that is where we are most powerful. And it's fascinating because they were a Cancer moon, and I suspect Leo rising, and they were a new moon child. But anyway, that was what I remember from that perspective of them, that our dreams are the most powerful, because that's where we're most aligned with who we are as humans. Our souls are on in that level of that subconscious. So when you have those dreams that are premonitions, those dreams are your higher self in action. And but in waking life, it's hard to grasp that. So it's understanding why Sagittarius or Pisces, or even Gemini or Virgo, but for the most part Pisces and Sagittarius, they tend to they want to be that dreamer, and they want to be that.
Sorry.
They don't want to. They just don't want to. They have no problem with the tangible, but they prefer the tangible of the mind.
That's true.
The mutables prefer the tangible of the mind.
Yeah, yeah. Like again, we go back to that physical component as well. That's what,
Mm-hmm.
like, and a lot of times we don't get sabotaged by ourselves. We get sabotaged by the wills and the by the will of other people that are also trying to create their reality on top of our reality bubbles. Everyone's got like a little reality bubble. They call it, like, you can call it a torus field, right, around us, of electromagnetic energy that the body emits. And that's intertwined with everything, connected to everything on the earth and whatnot, and with everybody else, um, and aligned with the magnetic field. So whenever you try to create your reality, you're bumping into somebody else's. And combined, they say this is hypothetical. Obviously, this is theories based on from other people that when combined, that's what creates this what we think called reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we call reality. So we have a bunch of people trying to bring their reality into or their wheels into reality alongside our own. Does that make sense, Christina?
Yes, I'm just nodding my head. Sorry,
Oh,
multitasking to the terrible things.
huh?
Terrible things. No, I'm kidding. I'm always kidding when I say terrible things. No, I'm listening.
Yeah. So you know, but as an astrologist,
Mm-hmm.
I have a few questions because I'm not very good at astrology, other than what I know about my own stuff and interpretations. Like I wouldn't be very good at interpreting someone else's chart, really, unless I had something to go by. You seem to have that knowledge at your disposal and ready to tell you, like, this is what you are, this is that's incredible. That's awesome. Um,
I appreciate that.
but as someone that likes to, do random chaos magic or whatnot, what will happen? Like, because everyone talks about how retrograde, you can't really do anything, throws everything off
Yeah.
kilter. What would you do to counteract retrograde or Mercury retrograde when there's communication, uh, being
Yeah.
messed with? What would you do to counteract that retrograde?
I guess for me, having like my like let me like I'm just thinking here like see this is what's struggling with me because Uranus is still in retrograde and Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So Uranus, people are like, why is technology still been silly? I'm like, well, Uranus is your higher octave of Mercury, so Uranus is going to take control of your technology. Neptune wants to make things disappear, so things are going to get a little difficult. But when it comes to acting with Mercury retrograde, you just kind of go with the flow. So like acknowledge that you're in a retrograde, but you're here to process what didn't work and what didn't work when things were direct. So like what's coming for March. So March 15th, Mercury goes retrograde into Aries.
Uh,
So that time period, so that time period when it's direct, that time period is going to get reflected on. So Aries moves into Mercury sometime early March, I believe, because I was looking at a chart earlier actually. I wasn't paying attention to the degrees, but Mercury moved into Pisces early March, and that's will be your theme of your Mercury retrograde. So that's the vibe of the transit. So same thing with Aries Mercury, or not Aries Mercury, Aries Venus and Pisces Venus, because Venus also is going retrograde the 2nd of March. So Mercury moves sometime late February, early March, and then Venus moves sometime next week. I
oh
want to
wow.
say this the 2nd or the 3rd. And then, because by the time Pisces season rolls around, it's about 10 degrees. So that checks about out. Yeah, that checks. Aries Venus is relatively fast, but because it's slowing down in retrograde, it's going to move a bit slower because the retrograde pre-shadow happens. But anyway, the point being, when you want to counteract the energy, you just kind of go with the flow and acknowledge that what you were experiencing 3 weeks prior is going to resurface and you're going to get to try again. So when I look back on the Mercury retrograde back in August of last year, what did I end up doing? I needed a new phone. Well, Mercury went retrograde on the new moon in Leo. I went out and I got a new phone that same day. I used 2 transits at the same time to counteract the energy, but did it make a darn bit of difference for my life? No. Did I have to sit a little bit longer and wait to sign papers? And did I get what I wanted phone wise? Coverage, yes. The color is the only thing that didn't really matter. But at the end of the day, I actually walked out with the iPad that I'm using to be on the Zoom call. So like it's just kind of how the energy works when you surrender to the pattern and the situation, you get things, you get rewards, and it's great because like the iPad was like a steal, and I don't like to use that word, but like after all said and done, I think I only paid about 200 for the iPad.
Yeah, that's
So
a lot of
like
money.
I tend to go around in circles with my answers, but sometimes I go around in circles so that I can come back and be like, okay, this is what I need. This is what I'm hearing. Does it sound logical to me or does it not seem logical? And then if it doesn't sound logical to me, I will try again and revisit because sometimes I have to revisit because most people in my life have a hard time grasping me, and I think that has to do with the fact that my Mercury in my own chart stationed stationed direct, so my energy is literally post shadow energy. So the post shadow of the Aries and Mercury of my time of birth. So it's kind of interesting. Yes, I might be a master communicator, but at the same time, the challenges are always hiccups with how do I communicate? How do I communicate this better with this person? Because I might not understand it, because getting a point across has always been difficult sometimes, a lot of the time, often.
Yeah.
And I hopefully I answered, but like sometimes I'm like, did I even answer the question or did I go
Yeah,
around the
you said go with
question?
you said go with the flow whenever we have retrogrades and stuff, just like,
Mm-hmm.
take in what you've learned or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But what I really meant by it was like when you're trying to like like do like magic,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
how do you counteract that the effects from the retrograde in your opinion?
Oh, okay. So I guess counteract, counter opposition. So like my brain just kind of like
Oh,
it
that's
doesn't,
Like,
okay.
my
That's
brain
cool.
doesn't have an answer. Maybe it's because it's late. My brain doesn't have an answer.
so how I would answer that, Nathan, I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying. Um, so what he's asking is like, would you do magic during the time of like Mercury retrograde? You know how some people do magic
Yes.
the full moon or the new moon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
Okay. See, there we go. See, there we go. Me having to have things reworded, and something might be in one of your charts that is affecting my communication style right now. Absolutely, I would do magic no matter what the time frame. So retrograde doesn't matter. Magic is going to reflect you as a person and how you are interacting with your energy, because your energy is your energy. The retrograde is just a collective energy, and how you handle the collective energy is up to you. So that's how I would counteract.
What do you do, Leticia, for that? What do you do personally for
well, to go by like I mean, uh, I used to go by the moon phases. You know, I used to do that, but now I do it whenever I feel like it because
and
I'm
so
we make choices. You know, there are some people that are like, I mean, it's your choice of however you want to do magic, but there are some
Mm.
that are like, oh, do magic on the blood moon or something. You know, like, oh, you know. I mean,
whoa, you don't believe in the power of the blood moon, Leticia?
I do, but I mean, some people are just like, oh, you can't do that. Like, it goes against this. You know what I mean? Like, they're all, although they take it a little like, there was something that was going on a while back. It wasn't the blood moon, it was something else. And I was like in one of those uh, groups that, you know, those witchy groups or whatever they ask a lot. You have people that are like crones, you have people that are, you know, uh, done it for a while, and then you have like new people, you know, the brand new want to ask everything on the planet, you know, and they were wanting to do some kind of spell, and people are saying, you know, well, do whatever you want, you know, and then some people are like, oh no, you can't do it that you can't do that because of this and this and this, you know, so you know, I don't like telling people they can or can't do something because I'm not, you know, I'm not in charge of their life, you know.
Agreed.
Exactly.
Agreed.
I'm not in control of anyone's life but my own.
Exactly. So,
Yeah. So what is what is a form of manifestation that worked for you when you actually put in the steps to uh, create, your will or whatever it is you want to bring into the reality? What is the most powerful proof that it works, in your opinion?
For me,
Yeah.
the well, the law of attraction works for me. And I I remember I was watching something a couple years ago, and they said write down on paper 10 things that you want to accomplish that year, and um, if you can, and then at the end of the year, go back and see how many of those 10 things that you wrote down you accomplished. Did you know? Um, Last year, before I moved, when I was living in Houston, and when I had moved to the fancy neighborhood in Houston, which was every like uh, that neighborhood was the second richest neighborhood in Houston. Well, anyway, once I moved there, I did the 10 things, and I accomplished all 8 things except for 2. So I believe, once you put it down on paper and you look at it, not every day, but just kind of know it's there, then you can make anything possible. So
That's
writing stuff down, affirmations, stuff that, of course, surround yourself with people that are, you always want to surround yourself with positive people, people that are going places, people that are, doing like, stuff to make themselves better. You know what I mean? You
yeah.
don't surround yourself with people that are just like, oh, like, today sucks. Or, like, I know today sucks. It might be today, but if they just keep living in that drab and that negativity all the time, you don't want to hang out with people like that, because you want to get past that. You want to, evolve, not dissolve. You know what I mean? So.
Hmm. Yeah. So have you tried pushing the limits of that, of the writing things down? And have you tried like for reach, like striving for bigger, aspirations, like pushing the threshold, like trying to see what works and what doesn't work and what you can do more often than versus like, things that don't really pan out as much. Have you found
Formula.
the formula? Yeah, that. Yeah.
Well, currently, I I moved to Lufkin. Um, I've been able to get more done here because it's a small town. Um, I don't have the constant battle of fighting traffic every day because there's no traffic. Um, I'm I feel like I'm not in survival mode here. I'm more in like, well, I can just do whatever I want here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm able to, go hang out with my dog during the day. Like in Houston, I couldn't do that. I was always busy doing stuff. And I noticed in Houston, I was usually doing stuff for other people and not doing stuff for Leticia, you know? And even I talked to my mom today, and she was like, yeah, we, she said that King and Herb noticed that I'm happier being here. And even though it's a small town, and that's one thing that drives me nuts, because I don't have the luxury of having like the restaurant, like good food places. I mean, it's just very limited here. I am able to do what I want to do, what I like to do, and I'm gonna be creating some new stuff coming up in the next month. So once the weather gets a little bit warmer, then I'm gonna be able to accomplish another thing that I want to do. So is that what you're asking? I'm sorry, I lost track of what I was saying.
Yeah, yeah, that pretty much answered what I was, looking for. But
I noticed a lot lately, and I've been noticing it more since living out here. Because living in Houston, it's concrete jungle out there. You know what I mean? Living here, I'm able to see a lot of wildlife, and so when different stuff comes to the yard, like I've been seeing a lot of rabbits. I mean, there's like rabbits everywhere apparently, and I was noticing that they were jumping out right in front of me whenever I'm driving down the driveway or whatever. And I remember I had like three of them jump out in front of me. Then I saw one the other night, right? And so when you're looking at different animals, I started looking them up. And when you see a random animal pop up, that's a message from your spirit guides, you know? Like people say how they look at feathers, you know, they're your angels or whatever sending you messages and stuff. Well, for me, it's animals. So whenever I start seeing animals, stuff starts happening. So this summer, we had like four bullfrogs outside on our porch every night. And two of them tried to get in Brody's bed with him. Of course, he wasn't having that. But the frogs meant something, you know. Of course, they're gone now because the season, you know. And then like hummingbirds would come around. Yeah.
Mm.
Lately, I've been seeing black crows outside. Sometimes I see ducks, you know. So you know everything has a message that's coming through. I wanted to mention, and I didn't mention it at the intro. Um, she is an astrologist and she's very knowledgeable of what she does. And she does have a Facebook page. It's called Moonstone Astrology. I think that's the only place you can find her right now. I know maybe she'll might go to another platform. But she also is, um, we're collaborating together as well too, and she's on the Utopia Magic website. If you guys want to book a birth chart or know anything about have any questions about astrology, she's on there, and or you can go find her also at her Facebook page.